listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think I've ever shared this before. But this is...
I'm so excited when you start out like this.
It's a big bit of information. And
Okay.
I don't think I've ever eaten good pizza in my life.
Dude.
I love that. I love that. But like you've eaten a lot of pizza, right?
So much pizza. So much. I had pizza today.
It feels like...
But I don't think I've ever had a good piece of pizza.
But how do you know? Like, do you have in your head what a good piece of pizza will taste like? Should you ever come across it?
I feel like I would know. I feel like I've had really good, that was a really good chicken sandwich. You know, that one, that was out of the park. And I've eaten pizza and I felt full, and that's the best I can say of it.
Maybe you just don't like pizza secretly.
People say that to me, but what's not to like? I mean, there's bread, there's cheese, there's tomato sauce.
But have you
toppings.
tried like all the different styles, like thin crust, deep dish? I don't know what else
I feel
there
like I
is.
have. I don't know if, I've never been to Chicago for the deep dish or something like that.
Have you ever
but
been to like Italy?
I did, but I don't think I had pizza. Is it supposed to be the best in Italy?
I think, yeah.
I think so.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's...
But have you tried it in like
outside of pasta.
Have you tried it in like New York where they have those sort of well-known pizzerias?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
John's, yeah.
I've had a slice.
So, like...
I go, oh, okay, that was a pizza.
You're talking to the wrong person because I just don't like pizza. So but that's like different. I've eaten a lot of pizza and I don't like it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love pizza. And now I feel personally invested. Like I can't help AG. She doesn't like cheese. My
cheese.
best friend doesn't eat cheese either. So I just, I can't help people who don't eat cheese. But I feel so personally invested now. Like I just need to.
I'm happy to try. Yes.
I need to get you like 3 different pieces of pizza at the 3 places that I think are actually like relatively decent in Vancouver, and just see how you feel. But like, I guess here's my caveat, because you know that I'm a weirdo. And I have very few acceptable sauces. Mm-hmm. For the most part, I prefer pizza with no tomato sauce.
Well, that is okay. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. I knew that was coming. I was going to bring it up.
Yeah. I mean, the classic is with the tomato sauce, though, no?
Yes.
Yeah. The classic is tomato sauce, and I don't mind like a light tomato sauce. There's certain places where I actually don't even ask for no tomato sauce. I'm fine with their light tomato sauce.
But I think sauce is such a key element on pizza that you're
But it's not exclusive to every pizza experience. Because like in New York, one of the classic styles of pizza is a white pizza. And it's like it's an oil and garlic kind of base.
Okay. Well, just like set your opinions aside because there's a lot of caveats on them. Just for this moment, Chloe,
you don't like cheese, so you don't like pizza.
I'm not suggesting that I'm gonna suggest any pizzas, but Chloe, are you a pizza aficionado with sort of average person's taste in pizzas?
I think so. See, the thing is, I'm fairly indiscriminate when it comes to pizzas. Like, I'll eat pretty much any sort of chain pizza, but I'll also eat, the Italian-style wood-fired blah, blah, blah pizzas. I'll eat a pizza with tomato sauce. I'll eat a white pizza. I just like pizza. It doesn't even have to be very good.
And
so you have felt you've had good pizza, though? Like, in your mind, have there been a moment where you went, wow, that was a good piece of pizza? Okay.
Yes.
And what made the difference for you?
Probably just like better ingredients and just how all the ingredients come together, right amount of cheese, all that kind of stuff.
To the standard.
Yeah, I think quality cheese and a quality sauce are kind of like integral. And then from there, you just like, I really do think one of the best pizzas in the world is like a 4 cheese pizza. I don't really like blue, so I prefer that that's not on it. But like,
Where do you
really
get that?
good quality 4 cheese. Oh,
I mean, tell me after.
Barbarella
We
has
don't
a.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, it's fine.
All right.
Barbarella has a great 4 cheese. I would stand by them, and they don't do a hefty amount of sauce. I like their sauce as well, so I don't even modify it.
So do you? I mean, here's the
eat it
other
as it
thing.
comes.
It seems to me that to get a good piece of pizza, you should be in the pizzeria, not delivery.
Yeah,
I
I would
In
think
the
so.
pandemic, I've had to do more delivery than I would have ever sort of encouraged in the past. In fact, like one of the more basic pizza places that we order from sometimes, I called the other day. This is actually almost embarrassing, but I'm kind of proud of it too. And I gave the order to the person who picked up the phone, and she was like, Andrea? And I was like, yeah. And she's like, oh, you guys never come in anymore. I really miss you guys. You should come in. And I was like, well, you know, it's still a pandemic and we're not really eating indoors very much at all. So we've been like mostly just relying on delivery. And she's like, I know the delivery is crazy, but we're kind of bored in here. And I was like, I'm really sorry. Like I do miss you, but like we don't know each other. It's just like when we do go into the restaurant, there's usually myself, Carlos, my sister, my grandma, my nephew. Like there's enough of us that we make enough of a scene that we stand out. Plus I get no sauce. So that's like
One of my friends once got a handwritten Christmas card from the manager of the chain pizza place that they ordered from several times a week for like
wow.
a year.
That's
like,
so beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's so beautiful. Yeah. But yeah, I would say I will pay for the priority delivery so that the pizza arrives as hot as possible.
Oh, same.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
I didn't know you could do
that's
that.
what I would say. Yeah.
But so Lisa, what in your mind's eye is the ideal pizza?
Well, it would be like, and this 4 cheese situation might be good. You know, like, you know, on the commercials when they lift up the piece of pizza and the cheese is stuck.
Yep.
It's that kind of thing. And that it's got to do with texture. So I want that crust probably to be a bit crispy. And then I want that cheese to be a bit gooey. And then I want some sort of oil slick from the meat.
Okay.
Okay.
I think that's doable.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it
doable.
should be doable. Like that's I just described normal pizza.
You did. Yeah. I mean, I can fix this. You know what? I can fix this for you.
I find it so
Yeah.
surprising though. Like I feel like you must have eaten at a lot of pizza places in your time.
Probably.
And I feel like you've tried a wide variety of pizzas. I don't know if this is a solvable problem.
You think I just don't like pizza?
I think you just might not like pizza. You can come join my group. It's fine.
I could join you. I mean, I just find it hard to believe.
We're small in number. We're small in number. It's hard to be me.
I just find it hard to believe because the separate
Hard to be me.
the separate ingredients are there that I like. So I don't really understand why it hasn't gelled for me yet.
Because society pressures you into thinking that you must love
be
pizza.
that. Yeah. I'm not
And
even
then you
I'm
feel,
not even a really
and then you feel bad when you don't.
Yeah. I'm not a big sandwich person either. Like they're okay.
I agree. It has to be like a
I
really
mean-
nice panini, situation or something like that. I don't want just like a sandwich between 2 like white pieces of bread.
Yeah.
It's no fun.
I don't like sandwiches either.
And just because you cut it on the angle is not going to work for me either. Like I'm not going to be tempted by the angle cut. Like it's still a bad sandwich is a bad sandwich.
What I'm really hearing here, frankly, and I'm going to say that I'm legitimately concerned, is a lot of anti-bread talk. And I will not stand for it as a just robust bread consumer and lover. I'm really having a hard time with this conversation. No, I'm kidding. No, it's fine. Everyone, I have so many things I'm not into and I don't like. I mean, I don't love most soups. We've been through this.
Soup is
I know,
great.
but I love
I know.
soup. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Who doesn't
I know.
love soup?
I know.
Love soup.
Me.
Yeah. Can't get
But I
enough
mean,
soup.
again, have you just been pressured into loving soup by the big soup industry?
Oh no! You know what? Saying
What
you
a
don't
wild
love.
hot take.
A lot of people don't like soups, but nobody says they don't like pizza, except for one here. And maybe I will be brave enough to eventually say, "Hi, my name is Lisa, and I don't like pizza."
We're
It's
really
hard.
breaking barriers today. Well, that's the segue that's going to pivot us to a truly groundbreaking film. I'm Andrea Warner.
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
I'm Chloe Krause.
Yay! And you're listening to Pop This. We're so excited to have you with us, Chloe. Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thanks
joining
for
us.
having me.
Yes, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you.
Obviously, we didn't know for sure that we were going to be divided on pizza so early on. Will we be divided about this movie? I don't know. It's so hard for me to say because I personally love this movie so much, but while I watched it, I will say I was worried, Lisa. I wasn't sure if you were going to like it because I know that like Heathers is a hard film for you.
Yes.
You don't like it. And I was like, oh, you know what? If you don't like Heathers, this might not be for you.
You know, the thing is, I have a hard time with high school and high body counts. That's just me.
Yeah.
So I'll say that right now. Yeah.
Whereas, I'm a fun-loving murder teen person. So I am going to, you know what? Let's start by introducing our guest. Chloe Krause is a queer disabled settler living in the unceded territories of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. She is one of two co-hosts of the Xena Warrior Princess focused podcast, Warriors, Bards, and Brews, currently on hiatus. She has worked in the nonprofit sector for most of her adult life, and she's also a self-taught photographer. Humble aside here from me interjection, she's an excellent self-taught photographer because she recently did my headshots. And I look
And those are
really
awesome.
And those are
Like,
fantastic.
Thank you.
All your photos are great.
Thank
Yes.
I look stunning. And Chloe, you're a fantastic photographer. Chloe also lives with her spouse and their Chihuahua mix and giant tabby cat.
Aw.
Yay, Chloe!
Chihuahua mix. I got 2 of those.
I appreciate the
We're all
compliments
just
on the
cheering for our
photography.
favorite.
Yeah.
We're all just cheering for our favorite parts of your bio.
Chihuahua mixes are great. What can I say?
There's something for everyone there.
Oh my God. I'm really excited that we're talking about bottoms. And we always end up talking too much about the film before we talk about the background or synopsis. So, you know what? Let's just do this in order. AG, do you want to read this background for us, please?
Sure. Bottoms is a 2023 American satirical teen sex comedy film directed by Emma Seligman from a screenplay she wrote with Rachel Sennott. It stars Sennott and Ayo Edeberry and follows 2 queer high school senior girls who set up a fight club as a way to hook up with cheerleaders. Bottoms premiered at South by Southwest on March 11th, 2023, and was released in the United States on August 25th, 2023 by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. The film received positive reviews from critics, with particular praise aimed at its direction and cast performances.
Thank you so kindly. Lisa, would you like to read the synopsis?
Sure. Longtime best friends PJ Rachel Sennott, also a co-writer, and Josie Ayo Edeberry are high school seniors at the absolute bottom of the food chain. They're bullied, as they say, not for being queer, but for being super ugly and untalented. But their reputations begin to change when they accidentally injure Jeff, the star quarterback and high school royalty. Suddenly, false rumors begin to fly about their violent pasts and killer fighting skills, and PJ and Josie use their newfound status to start a female fight club at school. They bill it as a self-defense club meant to increase female solidarity, but it's actually just a plot to get closer to their hot girl crushes and maybe, potentially, lose their virginities before college. And that comes from the Chicago Reader.
I love a teen sex comedy, guys.
I honestly love that you thought of me for this movie.
look, I just know some things are going to click really well. You know, teen sex comedy, add to that like queer teen sex comedy, add to that body count. Yeah.
I mean, what's not to like for
Chloe,
me?
I'm coming to you.
Of course. Who else would it be?
But I'd love to know like some first impressions. So Chloe, let's start with you. When you went in, did you know anything about it? And like when you came out, were you like, what was that?
I knew a little bit about it. I actually almost knew nothing about it until maybe like 2 days before I went to go see it, at which point I was like, of course I need to see this ASAP. And so we bought tickets, and like the last day it was playing at that particular theater. And but I only had like the vaguest idea about what it was about, and I kind of almost like half forgot about the whole Fight Club thing. And I really did leave thinking that was something, and that something was brilliant as far as I'm concerned. I just didn't expect it to go as hard as it did, and to be quite that level of outrageous. And, you know, again, with the high body count, I'm like, wow, they really just did that, the whole team.
They really did. And I will say, for anybody who's listening who hasn't seen the film, we probably will spoil it if we haven't already. So maybe just like, you know, you could take a rest right now, go see it, come back and pick us up again. Because, yeah, we got to talk about it all, and there will be
hard
spoilers.
to miss the ending.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's really, impossible. Impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Lisa, what about you?
Yeah. So I would say that I was, 3/4 of the way in. Things were going well. It was like quirky. It was funny. It was sweet. I thought the writing was good. The acting was amazing. And then things took a turn. And as you said, we're spoilers. So when the entire football team were murdered in cold blood, I felt very conflicted about what I had just seen and sat through. And I'm not going to lie, it tainted my feelings for what I had already seen in the
So
movie.
that's really the last 10 minutes.
It
So
is.
like you were good up until about the last 10 minutes.
Yes. I don't understand, like, if it was a weird moment where we have Josie goes to see this woman in a trailer.
Yep.
Who tells
Played
her,
by Punky Johnson.
yeah, strangely, that this is just a plot to kill someone. Like, where did this come from? Like, what?
Just how casually.
And then this means you, just
so
casually.
casual.
And then, so one person on the team was going to get killed. So then the entire team must die. And so I don't know where that ending came from. And I have to say it was not my favorite ending of a movie.
I mean, I think there's people out there who agree with you, for sure.
I mean, as we've just discussed, I, am a huge fan of Xena Warrior Princess. We have a podcast about it, and that is the most tonally disparate show on the face of the earth. Like, it's all over the place. So for me, it was like, this is great. But I could totally see how it would color some people's final impressions of the movie.
AG, what about you?
I went into this movie not knowing much about it at all, and I kind of quickly just realized that I have to just give into the sort of craziness of the movie and just go along with everything that was happening to truly enjoy it, because like I started noticing like in the background of every scene there are ridiculous things happening, and so sort of to take it as like almost a surreal black comedy. And so I think that like the body count and all that stuff, it didn't really seem serious to me, because of like I was taking it as like this is kind of just like a fever dream queer kids in high school kind of fantasy. And I found the movie, like once I was in that headspace, I was like, this is so hilarious, like it's so funny.
It's high camp, really, and I appreciate that a lot. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's fair. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the high camp is like definitely like a key point that I haven't actually seen written that much about when you consider what the film is, like people are talking about it as satire and parody and all these other kinds of things. But like, yeah, this movie is very camp. Like,
yeah.
And it just also felt like, part of this kind of new wave of comedy that we're seeing from, I guess, like the generation of Zillennials, or however you say it, like the 20-something-year-old female writers and directors that are rising up, and like, with Joyride, or, like it's kind of like smart comedies where they do like dumb things. And so, I feel like this is part of like a new wave of comedy we're seeing, and I can appreciate that.
Yeah, The Ringer's Jodie Walker, she described it as Zillennial cult comedy cinematic universe, which honestly, so thrilled for cinematic universes that have nothing to do with Marvel. Like, no offense to Marvel, but like, I'm here for it. And the piece that she wrote is like, it sort of overlaps Io, Rachel, and Molly Gordon, who directed Theater Camp. Now, I saw Theater Camp in the theaters a few weeks ago. It's now out on streaming, and I really want us to do it for the podcast because it has Io in it. It's set at a summer theater camp for like young kids, and it's run by these like wild 20, 30 and plus year olds, and it's very, very funny. It's very queer. It's a send-up, a mockumentary style, sort of like about these theater camps. But it's also very loving, and it's really fun. It's just really funny, you guys. And anyway, I was excited to like see Jodie sort of put all these three people like in context in this piece, because I didn't necessarily know the extent to which all three overlap. And they have collaborated and worked together so many times, and it's great.
Well, I kind of also want to see Shiva Baby, the Seligman's like first movie. It sounds, like I want to see like all the connections and figure out this whole universe. But yeah, that movie looks really great too.
I have seen Shiva Baby, and it's great. It is possibly one of the most anxiety-inducing movies I've ever watched in my entire life.
Ooh.
Oh my.
You've watched a lot of stuff.
Why do you say that?
Just because like the potential for, well, not just the potential for, but how much sheer awkwardness there is and how much additional pressure there is for the potential there is for awkwardness. And it's really hard to describe if you haven't seen it, but I think I held my breath through most of it.
Wow. Okay.
Honestly, that's like a ringing endorsement.
No
yeah, like that's. Yeah. I mean, awkward is very hard for me to watch, but I know that if I'm feeling it, it means that usually there's something interesting happening on screen.
I can't get enough awkward. That's my favorite thing. Like, honestly, I can watch. I find Curb Your Enthusiasm comfort TV.
Ooh, that is.
I can generally do awkwardness, and I really liked this, and I will watch it again at some point, but it probably won't be for like another year or something.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Well, Emma, the director and co-writer, she's from Montreal originally, and I really enjoy that. I'm not usually all about like rah-rah Canada or anything, but I'm glad she's from Montreal. Mm-hmm. That makes me pleased.
As a person who likes to rah-rah Canada, I'm very pleased.
I was shocked to find out that Rachel Sennott is not queer.
I am shocked as well. I thought yes, but Emma and
they
Io
are. I'm not even complaining about it necessarily. I just kind of assumed. And so when I found out that she's not, I was
complain about
that's
it.
Interesting.
Yeah. No, I think you should file a complaint. I'm surprised though. Like, yeah, I thought I totally thought she was. Well,
it is what it is.
She can't have everything great. Like, she's just, I guess she's got to have a few flaws. And I say that as a straight person, which is my deepest flaw, actually. But I'm like so I just like love the dynamic between Rachel and Io so much in the movie. And like the characters, like PJ is not a pleasant character at all. Like PJ is off-putting, and you know, Josie's like a sort of like a sweeter character. And I really like her so much, and I like Io's performance of her. But I like that these are not necessarily supposed to be like just fully worshiping them or anything.
No, they're definitely flawed. Definitely. And I mean, we all like, I mean, teen comedies are all about some kind of weird cutting corners, right? Like,
well, and like it's
if you get me into trouble, I will start a fight club
pairing.
Yeah, and the buddy dynamic too. Yeah,
yeah.
I also like the flip of like these two wanting to lose their virginities before college. Like I know it's like a really old, tired trope or whatever, but I appreciate the way that they go about it. I also appreciated that the objects of their affection, like obviously they're, you know, these beautiful young people, but they end up becoming like they get full characters who are extremely compelling and I thought really fantastic actors. Like I was blown away actually by Havana Rose Louis. I thought like her performance as Isabel was phenomenal. I know more people are talking about Kaya Gerber as Brittany because she's Cindy Crawford's kid, and like people are excited about that. Like that's fine. I thought she did a good job, and Ruby Cruz as Hazel was great as well. And that's, you know, obviously like a fantastic performance. But I was really struck by Havana. I thought like that was a character that when you're just sort of the sexually objectified person, it doesn't always give you a lot of space for performing anything else. But she does like some stuff, and like when she finds out that her boyfriend is sleeping with the other guy's mom,
Hazel's mom,
Hazel's mom, like what her face does in that sort of like 4 scenes. Incredible.
And also when she finds out about what Josie has done. That was really impactful.
It's
because it was really bad. It was really bad.
It was not good.
No,
it was not good.
It was not good at all. And can we just also, I mean, I know I've already touched on the body count at the end. But can we touch on the weird pep rally wrestling match, if we can call it that, with the wrestler in a cage who comes out and nearly murders Hazel? I mean, in fact, I think we thought she was dead.
Yeah, the extreme violence, I think, is part of the camp and satire of it all, but like it was awful. It was really hard to watch.
Yeah, there was an awful lot of like Rocky style spitting of blood in this movie.
Yeah. It is extremely violent, but I think that it's so interesting because like I talked to a friend of mine from high school a while ago, and like she is this creative person who is kind of like, you know, was not part of the mainstream in high school, or not a popular kid or whatever. And like in high school, like our football team was really excellent because I went to like South Delta Senior Secondary, which is in Tawasin. It's a tiny school. Our football team like had really successful years, and they were like, while we were in high school, and they were like always talked about in the town and in the newspapers and stuff like that. And recently I was talking to her about it, and she's like, did anyone ever tell you that our football team was good in high school? Like it did not register with her at all when we were in high school.
That's
she had
funny.
No clue. And it just kind of like made me realize that like there are like this movie kind of made that connection for me that like to there are some people in high school who are like this is their version of what's happening in high school. Like it might as well be like all of this wild stuff that's happening because they're totally like not invested in it, and they're like, you know, like to them this is that is accurate to what football looks like, is how it's depicted in this movie. Like, I think that like some people's experiences, like it might as well be that, because they just like don't care at all and they're not invested.
I have to say, one of the things I did really admire about the film was how much the school was trying to force down the throats this football game and this program, and I thought it was hilarious that the players were always in uniform, like walking through the school. I mean, just to drive it home that this is just nonsense. Nonsense that is pushed on kids in school. This useless athletic program that celebrates bullies, and and then it's quite funny to have Marshawn Lynch as their teacher, who is an actual famous football player. I loved him. I thought he was hilarious.
He was hilarious.
Oh, he was so funny.
I didn't know that he was actually a football player.
I didn't until
famous. Yeah. He's a famous football player. Yeah, really famous.
I didn't until I Googled him approximately an hour before this podcast. But I loved him too. He was great in every scene. I'm speaking of the football players and this whole thing. The posters everywhere in the school nearly killed me.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
The very inappropriate posters of Jeff.
They're just wild. Like I think that this movie has so many visual gags that I could not register just seeing it once. Like it's the kind of movie that like really will reward multiple rewatches over and over again, because like there's just like apparently that guy in the cage, but apparently he's also like maybe in the cage in a classroom somewhere too.
He
like
is.
They just let him out. Yeah, like I had missed that he was
in the beginning
cages multiple times.
Like the first classroom scene, he's just in a cage at the back of the classroom.
I had no
I didn't
idea.
see that.
No.
Yeah, I know.
That's the thing. Like there, I think that and I kept trying to read all the posters. I kept trying to like catch the little asides or the little looks. I even just like all of the different sort of jokes about like how PJ is like absolutely not a feminist because their favorite show is Entourage, which honestly is hilarious. I've actually had that discussion with someone. Anyway, it's a very funny discussion to have. But just like in the ways in which this, like, I just think this movie is doing so many things and it has so many ideas and it crams them into 92 minutes. And
which is a perfect film length.
Perfect film length.
Yeah.
But like to then just like decide to go off on this whole bonkers ending. Like if you think about it, it absolutely builds to this moment, I think. And again, I'm going to have to watch it like 6 more times to really prove my thesis here. But I think it does build to this moment because it keeps escalating the violence every 10 minutes, right? Like we start off with her running down. But like the like just like hit him with the car and then like running down and then it just like it sort of keeps going from there. But like they've already had kind of like threatening experiences at the carnival. They've absolutely been bullied because they're queer, but also apparently quote unquote ugly and untalented, which is again like just ridiculous. Like that's also very funny on its own like stupid level. But like, I think if you like the turning point for me when the violence sort of like the violence as joke and the violence as joke as catharsis is that really, I think, pivotal moment where they decide to bond with the group in of self-defense people, and PJ just like really just baldly is like, okay, who's been raped? And like in a truly like a stunned silence in the movie theater that I was in, and then the laughter, because like it's just such an awful, off-putting question, and yet like of course that's what PJ would do because she's not operating with the same quite deck of cards as like maybe other people. And then she's like, okay, but what about like, and so a few people in the circle raise their hands in the film. And then she's like, gray area stuff counts too. And then every single girl in that room raises her hand. And that's actually when I think the majority of the theater including me and all the people I was with, laughed the hardest because it's so categorically real.
Yes.
That like,
yes.
we know that I do think probably the statistics at this point are still underreported, but like beyond just like 1 in 3 young women experiencing sexual assault, like sexual harassment, like everyone has experienced some kind of sexual harassment, girls specifically. And so of course, like all the gray area, like the gray area question to me opened it up in such a big way. And it's so funny and so dark. And I loved it, but there's a few critics who definitely did not, a lot of critics who did. And I was just wondering if that moment stood out to any of you as well. Cause like for me, it really stood out.
Absolutely. And it really worked for me even before the gray area comment, but especially because of the gray area comment. And the fact, I know that there have been criticisms of the fact that they just move on from that conversation so quickly, like it never happened. But I almost feel like that was purposely done to show sort of just how, like, assumed that is, that everybody would kind of have that response. And then they're like, well, of course, yeah. So, anyway.
Well, that's like the assumption is, I think, the like acknowledging reality and also just like it adding another layer of like horrible comedy.
Oh, exactly. That was like, to me, it was one of those like so terrible that it's funny. You're like so terrible that you have to laugh at it. You know what I mean? Like it kind of, I don't know, it fell into that category, like laugh through your tears kind of thing.
Well, there's a certain sort of, it's almost, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, that we all know this about women. I mean, it would be pointless to ask almost, because I know that, I know what the answer is.
And that's the thing. And I think that that's actually the really genius part is like making it said out loud. The show of hands is actually like making visible what we all know.
Yes.
And what we, and forcing, like honestly forcing Mr. G, like as the only sole witness in that room, and like his mind kind of exploding. Mm-hmm. It's really genius stuff. And there's this great NPR piece by Aisha Harris about bottoms, and she sort of ties this all together. Senna and Seligman strike both a sweet and an abrasive tone that's tricky to pull off, though they do so quite handily. Bottoms leans hard into the absurdities of our hyper-violent and misogynistic culture and pokes fun at them. In one provocative scene, the girls go around sharing their personal experiences with harassment, abuse, and sexual assault, and while it's deeply depressing, it also makes for one of the movie's wittiest comedic moments. The girls' rage is palpable and accepted as a given in this cruel, harsh world. They hardly bat an eye when quirky and very enthusiastic Sylvie exclaims she looks forward to being able to kill her stepfather. Like,
yes.
So like the fact that we have this and then we end up they don't kill their own football team. They kill the other football team that had intended to murder their football team. And I feel like that's
with pineapple juice.
Yes.
It was pineapple juice.
It's a bit of an overcorrection for sure.
It's an overcorrection for sure. But I just like, I feel like this is like, they go to that really absurd place. In addition, like they also like, obviously like, just beat each other senseless. And then there's that really like horrible pounding that Hazel has to go through.
Yeah.
And then they, you see the others like kind of come together and like take care of her as she heals. And then we get this like absolute just brute force knockout, drag out, like the kind of scene that I've only ever really seen in like where just heads are popping off kind of stuff. Like I gotta say,
it made me think of Anchorman in the famous scene.
Yes,
where the team
where they beat each other,
and they were like, I think Brick killed a man. But this is a bit more like, yes, they died. But I will say that it was clever in the fact that football is extremely horrible and violent. I mean, the head injuries, that will never leave these players. And the fact that it's played in high school where, you know, your whole life can be ruined. In fact, Friday Night Lights. So the fact
I was thinking about Friday Night Lights when I was watching this movie.
Yeah. The fact that they can juxtapose that, I thought that was very smart.
Yeah. Well, it seemed to me that like this is a kind of Friday Night Lights told from, you know, like the queer kids in that high school.
Yeah.
Like it's like rewritten from that point of view. So yeah, I just if you kind of like think of them in parallel, it's fascinating.
Yeah, it is. You're really held hostage in a school with a football program, it seems. Yeah.
A funny thing about the violence to me is how ridiculously not violent Josie hitting Jeff was with the car. Like it was the very lightest, lightest of taps, and he's acting like she's literally just committed murder, basically, which happens later. But but just the fact that it's like that scene is drawn out where it's like 30 seconds of her just driving so slowly towards Jeff.
And then afterwards,
love tap.
But then afterwards, it turns out like she could have backed out of the parking.
Yeah,
She didn't need to go forward at all.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh so hard. I loved it.
Oh, it's so good. And again, like just thinking about how it starts there and then gets to where we get to. But then she's also having to carry Jeff like fireman style, doesn't she? Like, am I misremembering?
Yeah,
doesn't
she
end up,
does.
like carrying him and running with him? Like
that is a great scene. Like that, the cinematography on that shot
is so
gorgeous.
Good.
Yeah, it looks like a war heroes scene. Aisha Harris, as like another thing she said in her review, is that she drew a line through and said, Heathers walked so Jawbreaker could run, Mean Girls could fly, and so Bottoms can proudly land in outer space.
Yeah,
and I thought that like through line was perfect.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Perfect through line. Perfect through line. It's and I really like, you know, the other thing that she points out in the piece is about how like there's nothing like shameful or puritanical. They're just allowed to be angry and horny. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And not know where to put that energy. And I mean, like just the idea that a self-defense club could so quickly morph into a fight club.
Yeah.
Cause that's the thing. Like when you think about Fight Club itself, like, and I mean, I had to think about Fight Club too much, I think, when it first came out. I feel like the culture did that to me, and that's patriarchy. And I just like, this is such a pleasurable subversion of that, because like they also want to feel something. They are actually oppressed, marginalized people. Whereas I would say most of the people in Brad Pitt's Fight Club were just not.
Whiny babies.
And yeah, a little bit. And and like they, you know, the trying to protect themselves, they don't have necessarily a better model than just flat out beating each other. You know, the violence to prevent violence is obviously, we know, not like the right way to do things. But in this movie, they make such a funny case for it, and it feels so cathartic on like every level that I was like, okay, I'll leave the theater. And do I want to punch stuff? Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, sometimes I want to punch stuff anyways. And I'm pretty much normally like a pacifist, and I don't believe in violence, but I could see why in the like escapism of this film, it could really work. And it did feel cathartic and absurdist and ridiculous and over the top. It's nothing that like gonna take away any fight tips or anything, or actually go and do anything weird. It's not like instructive in that fashion because it's like so ridiculous. But I think that that's actually kind of why they have to end on such a ridiculous, over the top ending, is they have to take it to like the absolute like most inane place, that outer space like landing, you know, so that they can like I don't know, put the little like, it's not a heart over the eye, but they really like put a nail in a coffin on what they've done, you know? Like,
Where do you go from there?
It's no half measure.
I know.
It's a full measure. Yeah.
It's a full measure.
In admission, I've never seen Fight Club.
Wow. Honestly, great. Good for you.
Yeah.
You can skip it.
I-
It's fine.
That's all right.
I plan to
You know what it's about.
Vaguely, I know there's Brad Pitt and a Fight Club, presumably. So
Yep. Yeah, you're good. You're fine.
Yeah.
You're totally
I'm kind
fine.
of okay
Yeah.
with being one of 3 people who's never seen it. So
I don't remember
Honestly.
anything about it other than Brad Pitt and a Fight Club.
Yeah.
And I saw it.
so we're basically
there
in the
you go.
same place then.
Yeah, we're in the same place.
Poor Edward Norton. He's the actual star of this movie, but whatever.
Yeah, he's fine.
Yeah.
He's fine. He's good. Like, just the fact that I had to like, I don't know if you guys felt this as well, but just like so many, like just every like basic I met like after that movie came out and was all like, oh, Tyler Durden, you know, like that. Just having to listen to that all the time was. Anyway, he's a character in the film.
Yeah.
Chloe. Anyway,
It did make me look at the condiments in my fridge differently, though, but that's a whole other
Yeah,
thing.
fair enough. That's fair. That's fair. And I thought about soap differently too.
And meatloaf.
Yeah.
Wow, I really
Yeah.
do not remember anything about that movie.
Honestly, great. That's like so good.
None of that means
that's good.
anything to me.
No, that's good. Did you feel like good about sort of the way that like I feel like a lot of films now are pressured to sort of like leave room for a sequel. I don't feel like we're necessarily going to get a Bottoms 2.
Well, they'll
And
all
I
be in
feel okay
jail,
about
so
that.
that might be. Or they'll really go to juvie.
Not in this town.
Yeah.
In this town, they saved Jeff
Well, okay.
from
they
a
saved
pineapple.
Jeff, yeah.
They are the town heroes.
Okay.
Yeah, I really
probably.
did not get the
No-
sense
nobody
they
else
were gonna
knows this,
face
but, yeah.
repercussions. No.
Yeah.
No, they're fine. They're fine. There's like a long simmering history of human sacrifice every 25
Apparently,
years.
yes. Yeah.
They're fine.
That's exactly how long it takes for a small town to completely forget, have like no institutional knowledge of anything bad that's happened.
That's very interesting. I've never thought about it like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like in Halloween, they only come, or in Scream, they only come back years later, right? So
Yeah.
Every 5 to 7, I
Yeah.
think, in Scream. Do you like the fact that we have no idea what town this is in? Like, there's no cell phones in this movie. There's
Razors.
like-
There were Razor cell phones. I saw a Razor phone.
Oh, okay. I thought there was like almost no cell phones. In
No,
the movie,
one of the
but-
football players was using it.
because he
Yes.
the bad guy who was
Yeah.
calling in the
Yeah.
Oh, so only the really truly bad guys get to use a Razor cell phone.
Yeah.
But otherwise, phones really don't play a part very
No,
much.
it's interesting. Yeah, I noticed that.
Especially, considering the age of the people who wrote the film, it is really interesting.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I feel like we're gonna get a whole like sort of revival of analog. Everyone's gonna be like rotary phones only.
Well, people
Yeah,
are into
exactly.
flip phones again, apparently. So
They are. They are. I get that. I mean, you don't want to be tracked.
It
and
seems like
every time you have to say a word, then you get an Instagram ad about it. It's very nerve-wracking.
it seems like when filmmakers want to not make it era specific, they have people using flip phones.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do think it's really smart to like just make this kind of nameless, faceless, but still very clearly kind of small town America. Like a lot of the worst sort of stereotypes and tropes of America.
Yeah. very
Except that they
generic.
like missed
It could be
they have like a
anywhere.
large enough football team that it rules the town and the school. The teachers are mostly idiots, which I always find kind of fun. And then but they've got enough of a town that's like contemporary enough that like Josie and PJ are out. They're not closeted in any way, like shape or form. And they've got like a loner who lives in a trailer in what looks like kind of almost like a not quite a desert, but like not quite not a desert.
Yeah, I know. It was very peculiar. Yeah.
Like I like how
And yet
we
it
don't
doesn't matter.
get it. None of it matters. That's
No.
the thing. Like none of it matters.
Yeah.
So That's really pleasurable.
So what do we think? Are we going to go around it? I think I know the answer to this, but does this movie pop?
Yeah, I will say it pops, and I'm just gonna say that if you're like, a little queasy around the body count in high school movies, just keep that in mind.
It absolutely pops for me. Just talking about it now, I want to rewatch it immediately because there's just so many delightful things about it. And like Andrea said, things that were probably missed. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it pops too.
Oh, me too. I think it is chaotic and giddy and gory and weird and funny. It's so funny.
Mm-hmm.
It's so funny and it's kind of gonzo.
Yeah. And this might sound like kind of weird, but like I really like that it's like queer in so many different ways. And there's so many different expressions of queerness. And it's also feels a little bit like something that I haven't really seen before in terms of like a quote unquote queer film. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? I don't know.
I think so.
It just felt really refreshing.
Mm-hmm. I will go with you on that.
Agreed.
We love to leave episodes on something we also recommend. It's so nice to recommend what we've talked about, but then to also let's talk about other stuff we love. So, Chloe, tell us about something you're really into.
I just watched Talk to Me the other day, which is another movie which has incredibly bracing gore. It's also concerning a minor, which is really rough, but it was a horror movie that felt really smart and fresh, even though it kind of recycles some of the tropes. And it freaked me out in a way that not many horror movies succeed in doing anymore, because each Halloween season, Sid and I watch something like 60 horror movies over two months.
Wow.
Like it's intense. So for me to say, wow, this really stuck with me and made me tense and actively kind of, scared, that's really impressive.
Wow. All right. I mean, between that description and your description of Shiva Baby.
I'm just recommending all the really stressful things today. That's just how it's going. I don't know what that says about me, but there you go.
You know what? You're coping with fall the best you can, AG, what about you? What do you recommend?
So the winner of the Polaris Prize was just announced.
Yay!
And I want to recommend everybody go and listen to Debbie Friday and
Yay!
her album Good Luck, because it's excellent. It's kind of I don't know how it spans so many genres. Like it's a little bit techno, a little bit like punk rock. It's like melodic in places. There's like an R&B song-ish. It's kind of got pop influences. Like it's so original, and she's totally like doing her own thing that doesn't sound like anyone else, and I can see why they picked her as the winner this year. And so and there's for Lisa, there's a Vancouver connection. She graduated from SFU with an MFA from the music department.
Yep.
But yeah, it's a fantastic album. Everyone should listen to it.
Yay! I wholeheartedly agree and second your recommendation. Lisa, what about you?
Well, yeah. So we talked about Kaya Gerber in Bottoms and her mom Cindy Crawford. Well, tonight is on Apple TV is this documentary everyone's been watching about the 4 original supermodels. It launches, and so I haven't watched it yet, but I'm going to point out that there is a really fun movie on YouTube that's just completely free called Catwalk. And it stars Christy Turlington, one of the 4 models. And it's just her going to, so this is like, I think it's set in 93 or 95. She's just going to 3, like in Milan and in Paris and then New York. And it's just her doing those 3 fall shows. And just kind of behind the scenes. It's so, if you're a fashion fan of a particular type, like that 90s, it is so nostalgic to see like Valentino and Galliano and Jean-Paul Gaultier and all of them backstage, and they're going to get the outfits put on them, and Isaac Mizrahi. And it's just really, really fun. And I don't know and it's not serious at all. It's just, I know that this supermodel show is going to be very serious about, what it was like being these 4 women, what they saw, but this is just a lot of fun, and it's free on YouTube.
Nice.
Fun. I'm going to recommend, so it's a trailer currently, but I can virtually guarantee that it's going to be amazing. Because it has been a theater show, one-woman theater show. It has been, it's a record now, and it is our friend of the podcast, Vivek Shreya's hit play and book, How to Fail as a Pop Star, is coming out on CBC Gem October 13th. Everything will be available to stream. The trailer's out right now. The trailer is super cute and I love it so much. And I'm just going to read the quick description. How to Fail as a Pop Star answers this question with hilarity, vulnerability, a healthy dose of imagination, and of course, music. The series tackles the journey of Vivek, a young queer brown boy growing up in Edmonton, trying to achieve pop stardom, and what went right and wrong along the way, from the perspective of the now 40-something trans feminine multidisciplinary artist that boy became. And I love Vivek. I'm so proud of her. I think she's amazing and a really wonderful writer and musician. And I'm just like so excited for this show. She co-directed one of the episodes as well. So like she wrote the series. So like, just continuing to do amazing things and be really awesome. So I'm really excited to check this out. Anyway. So Chloe, thank you so much for hanging out with us. You're just the best. Where can people find you if you want them to find you?
Sure. So Warriors, Bards, and Brews is up on pretty much all of the standard platforms. If you're wanting to go back a little bit and listen to our podcast, my website is chloekraussphotography.ca. I need to update it, but it's there. Yeah, I think that's about it.
That's fine. They can see your beautiful photos on Instagram too, and then book you to take photos.
It's true. On Instagram, I am chloe.j_k photography.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was really fun.
Thank you.
Oh my God, such a delight. Such a delight. If you want to hang out with us on socials, you can. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Our photographs aren't as pretty.
Our photographs are not as pretty at all, but that's like whatever. We mostly do screenshots, and I haven't updated Instagram in probably a million years. So I used to be better about it. Sorry, guys. I'm not anymore. But maybe one day I will be again. Maybe.
Blame the pandemic.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I probably was best in the first 2 years of the pandemic.
Oh.
And I've really gone downhill the last 30 years of the pandemic. Anyway, it's fine. It's fine. I just got busy doing other stuff. But you can also email us at popthiscollective@gmail.com. And if you'd like to rate and review us 5 stars, we love that.
We do love that. We do love that. And thanks to our co-host and producer here, Andrea Gin, for making us sound so great and having such fun to chat with.
Thanks, Lisa.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.